Not so much from the player development side, but from the something from a fans to watch side. Do y'all have any idea if y'all are going to do streaming or just sort of what the game day experience will be like? Will it be different from kind of what the reserves were, or is that about the attitude?
No, for sure it'll be different. We're going to create an exciting fan experience. We haven't gotten there yet, but our fan development and game presentation group will get together and create something that makes sense for this team, for S2. And as far as streaming, I think I know USL requires streaming, so all games will be streamed. There's potential for some TV opportunities, but again, we'll cross that bridge over the next 60 days or so.
So obviously before this announcement, there had been some discussion, you mentioned it, about other cities that you may put a team. Does this kind of close that door? I mean, it sounds like that you guys are gearing up for a pretty permanent home.
Yeah, I think this closes the door. You know me well enough. I'm a never say never kind of guy. But I think that unless something massively changes over the course of years, I think this is where we're here to stay. That's not to say that we wouldn't help potentially even partner on teams in other markets. We could still potentially partner with another team, but we're going to operate a USL Pro team at Starfire.
And so what do you think the time frame looks like in terms of what fans can expect in terms of these capital improvements? Like, when they go to games next year, is Starfire going to look any different than it does today?
I would say that's unlikely. I think that the next 120 days will be sort of information gathering and conversations to try to put some plans together. These types of projects take time. So, I would say that potentially heading into the 2016 season, that's a more likely time frame.
And not to get too bogged down in details, but there's obviously a lot of people want to know about getting in and out of Starfire. It's not exactly the easiest place to get in and out of. Is that something that's on the list of, maybe it's not something, maybe it's a City of Tukwila issue, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's not on the list relative to capital improvement projects. It is on the list in terms of fan experience projects. But in fairness, we've been working with Starfire, with the City of Tukwila, and in my opinion, my anecdotal information is that it's gotten better and better and better. We'll continue to try to make it even better. I know that Starfire has worked on their parking lot to change some ingress, egress, and we've certainly been tested in some of those big Open Cup games. So I think we're up to the task.
I know this is touched on pretty thoroughly up there, but can you just speak more about what this will provide, how a pipeline that it'll provide with the Sounders first team?
Yeah, again, it's just super exciting that as players that Ziggy mentioned, whether it's an Aaron Kovar or Sean Okoli, or players that are currently in the academy, to have 30, 34 quality games, the pressure, the fans, the environment, and to be able to have that direct pipeline to the first team, to have a player be able to go out, get 4, 5, 6, 7 games as a young player, show that he's got what it takes, and then to give him a chance with the first team. It's it's just super exciting and just a much more, I guess, organized and methodical process for developing players.
Sorry. And then again, the MLS team has always been so connected with the fan and the supporter base, but it seems like Sounders FC2 will be even more so in touch with the community. Can you explain that some more?
Yeah. So S2 is hopefully the next evolution in fan engagement, fan connection with the Sounders Supporters Trust. 20% of the club will be owned and controlled by the Sounders Supporters Trust. Great Founders Club opportunity, great, just exciting, out-of-the-box, innovative things connecting our fans with our team and our players. and there's probably more to come. We're sort of, at the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we can do with the supporters' trust, with the supporters' groups, to make sure that engagement is just, we're connected at the hip, and that when S2 succeeds, the fans succeed, and enjoy the relationship, and vice versa.
Will they play any role in personnel or business decisions?
Yeah, they will. The details are and the bylaws will still be worked out, and it's really partially a Sounders supporters trust question as well. But for sure, the intention is for them to have a real say, a 20% say, if you will, which I suppose means that they won't have 80%. But look, it's a reflection of our fans as well, and so I think we've always been pretty good at making sure that if a big chunk of our fan base believes something, then we ought to pay attention.
You and Siggy talked about the idea of players could be brought up to the 18 if they're doing well, or guys in your current roster could be playing down there to get minutes. How are the rules in terms of, is it pretty free flow back and forth? I mean, are there limits on moving guys around like that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and there are limits, not necessarily in numbers, but in timing and just some logistics.
So you don't essentially get a 50-man roster or something.
Exactly, and quite frankly, our league, as this whole partnership evolves between Major League Soccer and United Soccer Leagues, the two leagues are kind of working through some of the rules, some of the salary structure issues, and some of the loans up and down from as you say, from USL to MLS and vice versa. But generally, the idea is that the movement should be pretty seamless, and that should never get in the way. The mechanics should never get in the way of player development.
Did you guys learn anything from having a year to watch LA go through the same process?
Yeah, for sure. Chris Klein's a good friend of the organization, president of LA Galaxy. I think he learned some things in the first year, and it was, quite frankly, probably helpful for us to observe and talk to Chris and try to not step on the same landmines and talk about what worked well and try to take the best of what they've done and maybe expand upon it.
It's definitely been a trend around the league, like you alluded to kind of have these attached teams. How much of a motivation was just kind of keeping pace and trying to make sure you have that same competitive advantage?
It certainly never felt like a sort of a defensive or a reactive move, because we knew that we were going to do this probably a year ago, maybe longer. So we always knew this was the right decision. There were some questions as far as timing and the people involved and how we built it up as a business, and some of these fan supporter trust issues and branding and things like that. But it was always clear that the best path for development and the sort of the missing link was this was a standalone operated by Sounders FC USL Pro team.
Thanks, Adrian.